everyone. How are you doing? Can you hear me? So how are you doing today, guys? How's everyone? Thank you so much for attending our webinar. So this webinar is to demystify the stock market. We're going to explain it simply to you in layman terms. We'll talk about all the things you need to know. I just want to know that you're here with us. So please, can you come into the comment section and at least say hi, how are you, things like that. Let me know that you're here. All right, great. I can see that you can hear me. All right, I'm very excited here. Can you just do me a favor? Can you go into the comment section and just tell me, what you'd like to learn? What do you plan to learn today? Today, I have a fantastic delivery for you, basically teaching you about the stock market, all the things you need to know in simplified format, right? So let us know exactly what you want to learn. I'm going to put up a poll now. The poll is going to be asking you, what level are you on? So are you on beginner's level? Are you on intermediate level? Are you on an advanced level? This class is suited for those that are either in the beginner level or on the intermediary level. So I'm just going to do a poll and I want you all to please participate, right? So great. So just give me a question. What level are you on? What stock market level are you on? Great. Option 1, beginner. Option 2, intermediary. And then option 3, let's see. Option 3 is advanced. Okay, so I just published the poll now. So guys, please take the poll. I want to know where you are at, beginners, intermediary, or advanced. Now remember that those that fall on that novice will also still fall on that beginner, right? That's also going to be beginner level. So I just want to know exactly where you are in terms of your knowledge, and then we'll be good to go. I'm very excited to be here. We'll be covering things like, the stock market. We'll be covering things like dividends. We'll be covering things like capital appreciation. We'll be covering things like Euro bonds. We'll be covering things like mutual funds. So basically, if you're leaving this class, you have to leave this class with knowledge to actually understand how the market works. Great stuff. Let me just quickly take a look at the poll to see how we are all doing. Fantastic. 87% of us here are actually at the beginner's level. So this class is for you. 12% is at intermediary level. This class is for you. 0% is at advanced level. Fantastic, because this is not a stock market advanced class. So it's more beginner and intermediary. We're just going to give people another word, approximately another 1 minute. So that way we can just wait for the class to fill up and then we can get started. Awesome. So let me go to my slides and then just share them with you. So this class is going to take approximately 1 hour. It's talking about demystifying the stock market. What is it about the stock market? What do you need to know? How do you need to understand it? We're going to break it down into layman terms. We're going to explain it so that way you will leave this session feeling awesome. Now, let me tell you why we do this. A lot of people have come back to us with, oh, I invested in the stock market in the past and I lost money. Oh, I do not know where to get my dividend from. Oh, how does the stock market work? Oh, my parents lost money. All this preconceived notions, all this knowledge that is not actually proper. Now, guess what? There was a lady that tweeted the other time. She works with Microsoft. She says, thank you so much that I was able to invest in this company and now I can purchase my own home, right? Many people do not understand the power of investing or how to invest right. So they always go through other means, right? That they either do not understand or they just throw their money around and they do not get the adequate result. We're having this class in order to teach you the adequate steps, in order to show you the way. So what do you want to achieve from this? I'm just going to quickly go to the next slide. If you're looking for a get-rich-quick method, then this class is not for you. It's not for those that are looking for get-rich-quick method. It's for those that actually want to understand how the stock market works. So this isn't, if you're looking for a get-rich-quick method, it's not for you. This is an intensive marathon 2 weeks class on how to invest in the stock market in the long run. If you notice, I keep using the word in the long run, because we are thinking about in the long run for this particular session. Great. So what does it entail? The purpose of this course or training will enable participants to have a complete understanding of how the stock market works. So even if you have no prior knowledge, even if you have just a basic understanding of the market, or if you're just like, oh, so I actually want to make a move. I'm tired of hearing people talk about this place. I want to understand it and I want to make a move. Then this is for you. Great. So do you know that if you had invested in the stocks early, you could have cleaned out? Let me go through them one by one. The very first one here is Zenith. If you had bought Zenith Bank shares at 10 naira 50 kobo in March, you should have been sitting down on at least 880,000 naira. Now, Zenith Bank has gone all the way from 10 naira 50 kobo to 20 naira. So you can see that's almost 100% return. Now, look at Shopify. If you had invested 500,000 naira in Shopify in the middle of the year, so just before the lockdown, it could have yielded 200% return. So if you had put in 500,000 naira, you could have walked away with 1.5 million. Now look at Tesla. Tesla, just by investing about 500,000 naira at the beginning of the year, you could have gotten 300% return. So if you had invested 500,000 naira, you could have been walking away with 2 million naira. Look at Netflix. Netflix is quite an interesting story. If you had bought shares worth just 100,000 naira in Netflix 14 years ago, 14 years ago, you could have been sitting on 1.45 billion. I mean, it grew by 14,500% return. Now that is absolutely crazy. Absolutely what crazy. Yes, and that is what Netflix has done. So Netflix was able to return that amount. So just with 100,000 naira, somebody could have used it to buy like 3 sets of Ashrabi. Another person could have used it to go to all these local travels. Somebody could have used the money to buy air ticket to Ghana for a short holiday. But if you had put in 100,000 naira about 14 years ago, you could have had 1.45 billion, enough for you to actually retire. Now look at Tencent. Tencent is a company in China. Tencent deals with things like gaming, advertising, and all the things. If you had invested 100,000 naira in Tencent 16 years ago, you could have been sitting down on a whopping 6 billion naira. Now that grew by over 60,000%. I just want to make sure that everybody is here with me in class, right? So I hope everybody is here with me in class, and I just want to make sure that you are taking this session seriously and you're actually understanding how it actually works. Great. So I'm just showing you here what is possible, right? What has happened in the past. Every time we share this story with people keep saying this, Tosin, but I did not invest 16 years ago. Tosin, I did not invest 14 years ago. Tosin, I did not invest in March of this year. So they say, but I did not, I've missed it. No, you haven't missed it. There is always something new coming. There's always something new coming. Are we together, right? There's always a new opportunity. And that's why we keep saying to you that it is never too late to start. It is never too late to get started. Great. So the next thing we want to do is we want to then talk about all the things that it actually covers. So over the course of the next 2 weeks, we'll be talking about things like the types of the stock market, primary and secondary market. We'll be talking about dividend payment, capital appreciation, how to assess your financial situation, understanding the risk market, right? Also, we'll be explaining to you the difference between investing and trading. People keep mixing them up. Also, things like the common market terminologies. Many people look at the stock market and they look at the graph, but whenever they look at the graph, they can't interpret it. They don't understand it. Sometimes you will see things like 52 weeks. Sometimes you'll see things like low. You will see things like high. You will see a graph. You can't explain it. In this class and the next 2 weeks to come, we'll be explaining it to you so that when you see a graph of a stock market, you can interpret it. Now, many people say things like, this thing is not for me. It's for people that have done accounting, people that have done finance. It's a lie. A lot of people in the finance space, they do not have a finance degree. Many people started learning how to invest in yourself. So I need you to change your mind. I need you to open your mind. I need you to know that no matter what level you are on now, this class is actually for you, that you can actually understand it, right? Because if you don't understand it, then you always have to rely on people. Now, there are two things you do completely outsource: your finances. You have every right to know what goes into your health. So for instance, if you were to go to a hospital, right? The doctors will tell you this is what is happening. This is what we are trying to solve. So for malaria, this is things that you need to take. For this, these are the things that you need to take, right? And because of that, they're able to educate you on it. Now, the same thing with your finances. We teach you and we educate you so that way you are able to understand the knowledge and you're able to take it home, right? So we've spoken about market capitalization, analyzing the stock market, and explaining everything in a simple format for you. Now, in the week 2, what we'll be covering is things like approaches to the stock market investing. We'll be talking about technical analysis. We'll be talking about how to play the long-term game. We'll be talking about investing in the stocks, which platform. Also, how should I enter? How should I exit? How should I stop my losses? All these things simply so that you can understand it in layman terms. Fantastic, great. So now I've sort of explained how we'll be talking and all the things we'll be teaching to you over the next 2 weeks. So now, what is a stock market? I want to know, what do you think a stock market is? Listen, a stock or shares means the ownership of a corporation, right? You own a part of it, right? Think about this. Something like, just think about it like a pizza, right? Somebody can have one slice, another person can have another slice. But when you bring everything together, it forms one pizza. So stock is your owning a part of something bigger. Now, the beautiful thing about a stock market is you don't have to go to the company every day. You don't have to be the one that is going there to work, going there to make a decision, going there to make a call. For instance, a perfect example here will be Netflix, right? So if you bought a share in Netflix, you don't have to be the one thinking about, oh, how do we make sure that the technology works right? How do we get more markets in Nigeria? How do we call our customer care? You just invest your money and take your hands off. That's why they call it a passive investment. Passive investment. Passive investment means that you can go ahead and do all the things you love to do while you leave your money to work for you. So fantastic example will be of a passive investment are things that you don't have to go to every day. But if you were to go there every day, then it's an active investment. Now, let's come back to the stock market. Now, another thing about the stock market is this, right? It allows for ownership of a portion of it. You don't have to own everything. You can just own just a bit of it. Remember what we said about a pizza? You can own just one slice, right? Somebody else can own 2 slices. You don't have to own the entire pizza. So just a part of it, you can partake in an ownership of it. Now, another thing here, again, about the stock market is that it allows the stakeholders to vote on corporate issues, right? I remember when I was 25, yes, I was a shareholder. I think just about that time, that was like my first time owning shares, right? I'll go for the meetings. You know, I want to vote, even though, in all honesty, because you're a minority, I mean, how much is my share? Probably like 100,000 naira or something. I'll raise up my hands, you know, I want to vote and do all of those things. So now, if you have shares, it actually gives you an opportunity to do all these things. You know, you can vote, you can have a say. Of course, those that have bigger shares have more say than those that have smaller shares. But it's just showing you the characteristics of the things that you can actually get by owning shares. Again, sometimes some corporations give shareholders dividend payouts. Dividend payout, don't worry, we'll talk more about the dividend payout in detail. So now, a lot of people also ask us this question, that Tosin, what is the difference between shares and equity? Tosin, what is the difference between stock and equity? They all mean the same thing. You can use them at any time. So you can either use stock, you can either use share, you can either use equity. They all mean the same thing, right? They can be used interchangeably. That, guys, is exactly what a stock market is. Let me give you an example. Like I always tell you, my name is Oluwatosin and I'm the founder of Money Africa. If Money Africa was to go into a public market, when I say a public market, meaning that we put our share on the Nigerian Stock Exchange so that people can come and buy and own a part of it. If we did that, then we're now playing in the stock market so that Shade can buy some shares, Chinonso can buy some shares, Ahmed can buy some shares, and people can come and be buying part of the shares of our company. So that's exactly how it works, right? So basically it gives you an ownership. So you don't have to come with me to work. I and my team and every other person I work will be doing our business while you guys would then be say that, you know what, we want to buy some investments in this company. That is how the stock market works. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to open the floor at the end of the class so that you can ask us your plenty questions. Is that great? All right. So the next one is misconception of the stock market. So now there are 6 different myths that is a misconception of the stock market. The very first one is that the stock market is actually very, very risky. A lot of people say this, right, because they do not understand it. So they think the stock market is very risky, but in actual fact, it is not, right? The stock market is not as risky as we make it to look. And I'm going to show you later on a graph that shows you, and you can see why we're saying it's not as risky. So many people don't come inside because they are afraid, they don't understand. If you do not see the big picture, if you do not know how the stock market works, then you're going to find it very, very risky. Great. Now, the next one is myth 2. The second myth is that investing in stocks equates to gambling, and this reasoning causes a lot of people to shy away from it. What is gambling? Gambling basically means that you are betting on something. So you can bet that horse A will win horse B, right? That could be gambling. But guess what, guys? We are not gambling. This is not a gamble because there's a real asset backing it. Let me give you an example again of Netflix. Like for a lot of young people on this show, on this program, before, there's a real company. So they have real company, they hire actors sometimes, they create some movies. You can see that there's a real model to the structure, right? And how do they make money? They make sure that you and I pay monthly to access the product. That is a business. Another business is Coca-Cola. We've all drank Coca-Cola product at one point or the other of our lives, or at least we've seen it. If we've not taken it, we've at least seen it. How is that a company? They have a machinery, they have intellectual property, they have the liquids, they have managers, they have everything to ensure that the Coke can go anywhere. Somebody even says something that you can find a bottle of Coca-Cola in any part of the world. So that is just how a business is and how it runs. Where am I going? I'm saying that it is not a gamble in the sense that there's a real company behind it. So it's not like you are betting on an outcome that, if Arsenal wins Manchester or if Nigeria wins Argentina, it's not one of it's real, right? There are activities, there are business activities, and that's why we keep saying that. And you cannot compare stocks to gambling because of the real activities that happen in the company in order to generate what? Wealth. The next one, myth 3. Myth 3 talks about the stock market is an exclusive club for only brokers and rich people. So they always say, oh, this thing is just for rich people. It's only rich people that have access to this thing, but that's not true. That's not true. Now we have platforms that allow people, you and I, retail investors, to buy what we can afford. Somebody else can have 50,000, another person can have 30,000, another person can have 10,000, Lagbaja can have 5,000 naira. So whatever you have, you can afford to buy. So gone are those days that you needed like $10,000 to be able to play in a global stock market. Gone are those days that you needed like $20,000 to be able to play in a global stock market. So now, even with what you have opportunity to actually enter that space. The fourth myth is fallen angels will go back up eventually. So what are fallen angels? So for instance, you see a share, it was, let's say the share was at 30 naira, and then just start getting, it starts going down. Many people, their strategy is that whenever a share starts doing poorly, the next thing they want to do is they want to buy the share, right? Now, it's not always true that whenever a share falls so sharply that to come back up. Something else could be wrong with the share. Look at BlackBerry. They crashed and they never came back up. They crashed, right? So there are other things you need to be asking yourself. Why is this share falling? Is it something that is, why is it? Is it something that is fundamental? Have they missed the business plan? Is there something else they're doing? Are they phased out of the market? There are other things. So let's say there's no need for that product anymore. Let's say there's a new technology that has taken over what that company used to do. So you don't buy shares because it is as dropped. That share went from $10 to $5. Now I'm going to buy it. Or that share went down from 10 naira to 5 naira, so I'm going to buy, right? So now, because of this, you can then say to yourself, I'm not buying this share just because the share has dropped. Are we together? I want to know if we're together. Are you guys understanding it? Okay, great. I'm seeing here people saying good stuff, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Okay, great. So I can see that we're understanding it and we're able to join the class. All right. So the next thing is the fifth myth is that stocks that go up must come down. Again, just like the other one of stocks that go up going down, this one is saying that if it goes up, it must come down. That's also Many people were looking at Tesla. Tesla was going from 300 naira, it went to 500 naira, it went to $300 to $500 to $1,000, and it just kept going up. People were saying, it will go down all the way from $1,000 back to $200. I mean, that was before the share split, but it did not, right? It did not crash as much as they wanted it to crash. So all the shares that go up might not come down. That's also one of your myths. Now, the last myth is about a little knowledge is better than none. And I totally disagree with this. Many people have small knowledge. So maybe they know what a share is, maybe they know what a dividend is, but that is all they know. So they will not be misinterpreting it. They don't understand things that work. They don't understand the role of financial analysis. They don't understand how exchange rate plays a role. So let's say there's a share in Nigeria because it is in naira, there's another share in the US and it is in dollars. So when you don't have a full understanding of it, it is just as bad as you not having any knowledge. And that's why we always say small knowledge is terrible than even having no knowledge. So we always want you to have enough knowledge to have a good decision. Guys, this is basically the misconceptions that people have about the stock market. I mean, if you look at people that invest in Nigeria, the misconception is even worse, because in Nigeria, many people are thinking about, our parents lost money, what do we do, and things like that. So the misconceptions are a lot, and I want you to open your mind. I want you to take this class with an open mind for you to actually understand how it actually works. Cool stuff. The next one here is, why do people invest? And I really love that question, because if we're being honest, investing is not a charity, right? People do not buy stocks because, let's just buy stocks. No, they buy stocks for a purpose. They buy it as an investment decision. They buy it because they also want to see a growth in their return in the future. That's the primary reason why people buy stock. Now, there are two primary reasons why. Number one, you have dividend. Number two, you have capital appreciation. Let's start with dividend. What is dividend? For holding the shares for that duration. So let us break it down. Now, I always tell people, and a company is actually very easy. It's not as hard as a lot of people look at it. Let's look at it like this. Why are people in business? So that they can sell, Abi. Doctor is doing what? Selling consultation hour. Dangote is doing what? Dangote is selling cement. Let's look for Nestle. What are they selling? They're selling food. Insurance company, what are they selling? They're selling insurance products. Banks, what are they selling? They're selling loans, so that when you take a loan with them, they make interest. They're selling bank charges and all these other things. So these are how all this comes. So every company is what they're there to make money. So you have this thing called revenue. Revenue is how they make money. Revenue is right here. The next one is my cost of sales. What are the things I need to do to be able to make that money? So if I was a bakery, it would be things like, buying flour, buying eggs, things that I need to make my money. Those will be my cost of sales. Then you have expenses. Expenses are like your general expenses. So things like salary, things like rent, all these other things. Those are your administrative expenses, marketing, signing up to having Facebook and paying adverts. All these other things goes on that expense. And then you have your last line, that is your profit after they've taken away the tax. Now, under that profit, that is where companies pay dividends. So once they are making profit, depending on the size of the company, they can say, we're going to give something back to our shareholders. Thank you so much for investing with us. So we're going to give you this return because you invested in us. And that is one of the reasons why people invest. So we have dividend. Now, dividend basically is how companies reward shareholders. Fantastic. That's number one reason why people invest. Now, the number two reason is what? Capital appreciation. What is capital appreciation? So Lagbaja bought Zenith Bank shares at how much? 10 naira. This was when he bought Zenith Bank shares 10 naira in March, right? And then what happened? Then in August, is the shares, now today in October, Zenith Bank shares is now 20 naira. What has happened? Capital appreciation. It has grown. Appreciation. It has grown. So basically, that is what capital appreciation means. It shows that the share has actually grown. That is what capital appreciation, and that is why many people buy. So many people buy either because of dividend, right, or they buy because of capital appreciation. That is why people buy shares. Of course, we're speaking about how share can grow. Share can also decrease. Some people bought Oando for 15 naira. Now Oando is how much? It's less than 5 naira. Many people are in that many people are in that bracket. So these are the ways that people can actually invest: capital appreciation and what? Dividend. Good stuff. So the next one is, let's take a journey. We want to take you global. We want to take you to the global market and actually see how it does. Now, the first one I have here with me is the New York Stock Exchange. The New York Stock Exchange has been around for a long time, since 1792. Wow. That's a very long time. Now, can I tell you how it started? So 24 stockbrokers, they stood under a tree in New York, and they were talking about creating an exchange, right? And then they started it, right? So I know that the tree is there in New York. I don't know if they've cut down the tree, but it was under a tree. They came together, started talking, and then they said that, you know what, we're going to form a stock exchange. And that was how the New York Stock Exchange came about. So the New York Stock Exchange is one of the oldest exchanges in the market. It's been around for a very long time. Now, I want you to stay with me. If you look at this graph, you can see this graph doing what? This graph is what? It's going up. It came down, then it went back up. If you see where it came down, you can see here, it was in 2008. How many people can remember the crisis in 2008 when the market was in trouble? The market was in very, very big trouble. And remember that time, now in 2008, when the stock market was crashing, economies were crashing all over the world, and there was trouble. So you can see what happened. The stock market went down, but guess what? It started going back up, right? And if you look at it on average, compared to where it was and where it is now, what has happened? It has gone up, meaning that what? There is growth. You can see a growth in those numbers. So that, guys, is showing you that whenever people say to you that the stock market is risky, the stock market is bad, you can see for yourself, because numbers don't lie, that even though it will fall, even though it might go up, the New York Stock Exchange has done what? On average, it has gone up. Fantastic. The next one is NASDAQ. So what is NASDAQ? NASDAQ started in 1971. It's much, much younger than the New York Stock Exchange. NASDAQ, unlike of the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ does not have a physical location. It's where a lot of the tech companies are listed. So you have Facebook, you have Apple. So when you're thinking about all those big technology companies, most of them are listed on what? On NASDAQ. If you look at NASDAQ as well, it also crashed a bit. Look at the graph. There's something that we call a dot-com bubble. A dot-com bubble means that everybody was talking about technology, tech. So people were buying it. It was overvalued. The market was screaming, and everybody was just buying technology shares. And then in 2000, what happened? It dropped. So if you look at that graph as well, you see that drop. But guess what still happened? It still went back up. And that, guys, to show you that a lot of people say that the market is very risky. But if you look at these two graphs, the one of the New York Stock Exchange, the one of NASDAQ, overall, what has happened? It has what? It has gone back up. That just shows you that knowledge is very, very important. That's why we want to teach you knowledge. We want you to understand these things. We want you to understand how it works. We want to show you numbers. We want to show you as far back as 20 years, as far back as 50 years, so that you can see how the numbers work. Cool stuff, guys. Now let's go to the next slide. The next slide is, let's take a journey. Let's come back to Nigeria. Did you know that the Nigerian Stock Exchange was first known as the Lagos Stock Exchange? Yeah, you know, like the way they have New York Stock Exchange and they have Nairobi Stock Exchange. Nigeria Stock Exchange was actually Lagos Stock Exchange. I don't know why they changed it, or maybe some people also feel like, you know, why is it now Lagos? I don't know why they changed it, but that was the previous name. Now, I want you to stay with me. In 1960, September 15. So that's about 60 years ago. The Nigerian Stock Exchange is almost as old as Nigeria after independence. It was just about the same time. It happened September 15, and then the independence was October 1st. So just about the same time. That was how it happened, right? Great stuff. So basically, that's basically how it works. It's been around now for a while. If you look at the Nigerian Stock Exchange graph, can you see that the place I circled yellow, that was in 2008. Remember this 2008, the global stock market crashed. Nigeria's stock market crashed, but guess what, guys? It never went back to where it was. So it always stayed there. The Nigerian stock market never went back to where it was after the crash. So you've seen a lot of shares go down, but they just never climbed up. But this is not a demarketing of Nigerian stock exchange. There's still some great shares in Nigeria. If you look at some companies, they've done really well over the past 10 years, right? Really, really amazing. Some few, albeit few, I have to be honest that they are few. There are some companies that have done quite well on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. But if you look at it on average compared to the other markets, it never recovered from its 2008 crash. If you're learning new stuff, go into the comment section, write down the new things that you're learning. Let me know that you're enjoying this class and it is actually giving you new knowledge. Now, where am I going? I want to teach you about the different things in the stock market. Why are people investing there? Why should we? We already spoke about things like capital appreciation. We spoke about things like dividend. We explained the different markets. We looked at the New York Stock Exchange. We looked at the NASDAQ. We looked at the Nigeria Stock Exchange. The next thing we want to talk about now are the indices. What is an indices? An indices is like a tracker. It tracks some things. It tracks, right? I want to bring it home and I want to just explain to you, right? And indices is like what? Think of a cocktail. So I have my drink here. In this drink, we have this amazing cook and she makes us fresh mixes, right? I have here watermelon. I have here pineapple. I have here ginger. But you can see that I can't hold the pineapple. I can't hold the watermelon. I can't hold the ginger. I can't hold the water. It's now a new drink. This is my new drink. That is what an index is. So an index puts many things together to form a new thing that they can now track. So if you look at this one called the S&P 500, it tracks the 500 largest companies on the exchange, right? So you're looking at companies like Coca-Cola, you're looking at companies like Johnson & Johnson, you're looking at all those big companies. It tracks everything, the largest 500 companies on the exchanges. That is, I'm talking about NASDAQ and NYSE. It tracks them and it shows you their size. So now this S&P 500, right, shows you how it's performing. Now, for a lot of people, if they want to know if the market is doing well or not, they just check this 500. Them having to check all the other companies. So whenever people are investing for the first time, they don't have knowledge, they don't understand that, whoa, just go and buy this. Go and buy ETFs that tracks this kind of things, right? Can I buy an index? No, I can't buy an index. You can buy a fund, but an index is basically tracks, it shows you how all these people are performing. So it shows you how watermelon, ginger, pineapple, and water is performing, right? Now, these four things are inside this place. This is like an index for those four things. What makes up an index? What makes up an index are the things that you put inside, the things that goes here. So now, in this case of S&P 500, we're talking about the 500 largest companies on the exchanges. For this one, we're talking about watermelon, pineapple, ginger, and water. So it depends on what you are tracking that index tracks. I hope you're with me. Great. The next one is you have the Dow. The Dow tracks blue chip US stocks. What are blue chip? Blue chip basically means top-notch, highly capitalized. It has to have a certain metric. They are called blue chip. If you want to look at blue chips companies in Nigeria, you're looking at MTN, you're looking at Dangote Cement, you're looking at GTB, you're looking at Zenith. So that is how a blue chip, those are a blue chip kind of company. In the US, when you're thinking about blue chip, you're thinking of Apple, you're thinking of Facebook. Those are blue chip companies. So you must have been hearing people say, oh, blue chip, blue chip, blue chip. That is what blue chip means. So basically, we're just explaining to you how these indexes work, what a blue chip is, and all these different things and how it works. We need to understand indexes because it's very, very good for beginner investors. Great stuff. So how about the Nigerian Stock Exchange? There's something we have here that is called NSE-ASI. Some people just call it ASI, or they just say All Share Index. An All Share Index, a Nigerian Stock Exchange All Share Index tracks all of the shares listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Remember that graph I showed you that we have not fully recovered? That graph is actually a Nigerian Stock Exchange All Share Index. It tracks all the 162, mashed everything together. The way I mixed up my cocktail, they mashed they added Zenith, they added Gem, GTB, they added Tantalizer. As long as you are listed, bam, you're going to fall inside that bracket. And they mash everything together and they created an index. And that index is what we're talking about. We also have another one called NSE 30. It tracks the 30 largest companies in the US. On the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So you'll be having companies like Dangote Cement, like MTN, like Zenith, like GTB. Who else is going to be on this? Like Stanbic. So you can see all the 30 largest companies in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So stay with me. I don't want you to have any misunderstanding. And basically, that is how this market works. So once you start understanding it, it helps you, it gives you a better insight. So you don't. Many people worry so much about, oh my gosh, I have to get a degree to understand the stock market, or I don't understand it. It's like learning how to gym. When you start, nobody sees your muscle. Then you keep going, and you exercise. And then guess what happens? Your muscle starts building. It starts building up. Then after a while, people start saying, wow, you look so toned. Wow, you look so buff. But nobody's going to see that 3 months that you've been what? You've been exercising. The same thing like investing. It's built over time. So I always tell beginner investor, knowledge is very important. Who are you listening to? Who is teaching you about your money? Who is teaching you about the stock market? Who is teaching you about all these other things? And once you get taught, you can then gradually, you start trying till you get better. But knowledge is very, very important. That's why we're taking this class, in order to teach you that knowledge. Now, after the stock market, what else can you buy on the market? You have ETF, the exchange traded fund. You know, we spoke about previously. Yes, so things like VOO. VOO is one of the funds that are actually available that you can actually trade on. You have things like a mutual fund. A mutual fund could be tracking equities. A mutual fund could be tracking dollar stuff. A mutual fund could be tracking so many things, right? So a mutual fund is like everybody coming together to put their money together. Now, depending on what you put that fund in, it determines the kind of mutual fund it is. I love to use this example of rice, right? So I can have boiled rice inside tomato sauce. It becomes what? It becomes jollof. If I put my boiled rice inside vegetables and green peas and carrots, it becomes what? It becomes fried rice. If I put my boiled rice inside coconut sauce, it becomes what? It becomes the same thing with your mutual funds. When people put money together, when they put it inside something, it determines the kind of fund that fund is going to be. Then the next one you have is a Eurobond. So we talk about Eurobond a lot in our community, and we teach people about it so that they can understand it. We're not making decisions again just because. Now, why are we very passionate about this, guys? The beautiful thing about teaching is that people eventually then have to build a portfolio, right? You need to actually build your portfolio. But if you don't understand why you're doing it, if you're not building it the right way, then you miss out on a lot. And that is why we are very, very aggressive about being able to teach you and able to explain to you how it actually works. So now people say, why should I invest in US stock? Remember, this class is not just for the US stock, it's also for the Nigerian stock as well. But whenever you're looking at the US stocks, number one thing is the Naira to the dollar. Because you're investing in the dollar, you have protection, right? You're investing in a dollar denominated asset. That's the very number one thing you're thinking of. How can I also invest in dollars? The next one is capital growth. That is the growth in my share price. I'm seeing a growth in my numbers. The next one is diversification. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. You have multiple baskets. You don't put everything in one basket. So some people will say, oh, I want to buy some shares in Nigeria. I want to buy some shares in the global market. I want to invest in some mutual fund. I want to have some real estate. So you have all those different elements, and then it helps you, and you're then able to diversify your portfolio. So it just shows you how you can actually diversify your portfolio. Are we together? That's basically why people actually need to invest in stocks. So when I said, oh, invest, it does not mean that it has to just be this. You can also invest in other things as well in order to make sure that you actually have what? A portfolio. So A lot of people ask us, when should I start investing? I think the very first time we should start investing, number one, is that you have some money, right? Now, a lot of people make some money, but it does not mean that they have a discretionary income. What is a discretionary income? A discretionary income is after you've covered all your essentials. So things like rent, you've paid rent, you've eaten food, you've paid transportation. When I'm talking about food, I'm not talking about restaurant food. I'm talking about food that you buy in the market, you come to your house, you cook it. Because whenever we're talking about essentials, we're only talking about things that you need to survive, things that you need to survive, not luxury, things that you need to survive. That is discretionary income, right? So after your discretionary income, then you can invest. It could be savings, bonds, equity, shares, all these other things. Now, you need to also identify your risk appetite, right? So what is my risk appetite? How you are able to learn how to distribute your risk, right? So now for somebody else, say that, Tosin, I have a low risk appetite. I don't want plenty of my money in shares because I might lose it, right? I might just want to put it elsewhere. So somebody like that might not have, right? Somebody else might be saying, Tosin, I'm very young. I'm just 25. I'm not married. I have a decent income. I'm ready to take so much risk. If anything happens, I have time to catch up. Another person can be 55. They are 5 years away from retirement. They don't have any choice. They cannot be doing anything that is risky, right? They just want to be putting their money where they can see it. They're just earning a small return for them. So risk appetite is very, very important. You have to know your story. Do I have children? Are my children young? Are they going to school? How often do I need money? All those different questions then help you. Then the next one is actually then adopting a strategy. So once you've done it all, the next thing is you're adopting a strategy. Now, there's a beautiful thing. We have this group, right, Money Africa community, right, where we basically teach people about investing, we educate them, we show them the way, we do all of these amazing things. And guess what? It changes. Somebody on the group can say, Tosin, this is my strategy. I want to be trading and I also want to be investing. And that person say, I have a very busy job. I can't be chasing any shares up and down. I just want to invest. I'll leave my money for like 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 years. And that person will say that, Tosin, you know what? I want to mix both of them together so that I'll add investing with trading. I'll be doing the two of it together. So you'll be able to develop your own strategy. I think at the end of the day, investing is a lifestyle. It's like life. Somebody else now my hair is relaxed, right? My sister's hair is not relaxed. It's her strategy. She does not want relaxer on it because that's how she wants it. I want relaxer on it. I want it easy. I want it relaxed, right? So everybody will then choose what they actually want based on their knowledge, right? Everybody would then choose based on their knowledge. So the next one here is that how do the rich invest? We want to be able to understand how the rich invest. It's very, very important that we know how the wealthy invest. This is how they invest. They put about 7% in money bond. They put about 10% in taxable bond. They put about 7% in cash. They put about 6% in real estate. They put about 5% in commodities, right? Meaning 30% of their money is inside what? Safety. Something they can sleep at night. People that are richer than us, that is how they invest their money. Now you don't have plenty money. You now put everything in risk, right? So now that is the reason why we keep telling people that you don't have to take that much risk. You have to look at your portfolio. The most wealthy people in the world, they put 30% of their money in safety. Now you don't have that much, and now you're putting all your money in risky assets. So something needs to be in safety. Something needs to do that. This money is safe. I can look at it. I'm in good hands. Are we together? Fantastic. So the super wealthy invest 32% of their asset in the stock market, right? 32 whooping percent in the stock market. That is how the super wealthy invest. So guys, basically that is how the very, very rich people invest. So why are we actually then taking this session, right? Of course, we're taking this session in order to educate you, in order to let you know that information is very important. For those that follow us on Instagram, you must have seen our videos. You must have seen how a lot of the things that we do happens. You must have seen all the educations that we do, right? You would have seen everything. And we just want you to know that we don't want a situation whereas you are leaving money on the table, because when you don't have knowledge, you leave money on the table. And that's why we keep talking about this. We don't want a situation whereas you're thinking, if I just invested early in Zenith or at the beginning of the year, I could have had almost 100% return. If I'd invested in Shopify, I could have had almost 200% return. If I had invested in Netflix, I should have had about 14,500 naira 500% return. We don't want a situation like that. We don't want you to be thinking that what if, and that's why we're here to educate you. We created this class to teach you about all you need to know. And this class is going to go on for the next 2 weeks, right? We're going to talk about all the different things, how to read it in simple terms. I wanted you to deliberately sit down in this class, right? You must have heard about the stock market before, but how do they teach it to you? Now, this is how we will teach it to you in layman terms, using real examples, things like cocktail, things like relax your hair, things like jollof rice, that you can understand and you can totally have knowledge of. It's very, very important for us to be able to do that. So that way, we're explaining it in simple terms. The next class is going to be very comprehensive. It's going to go over the space of 2 weeks. We're going to the right strategy to use. You know exactly how to actually invest. And I actually want you to come on board. Now, you're probably asking, Tosin, you'll be talking about all these things like for us to learn, or how we can understand how to buy, how to sell, how to stay in the long run, you know, how to have access to resources, how to join a community of people that are investing. Now, we have thousands of people that have subscribed to us, that are learning from us, and we want you to come and join them. So now, how will you do that? How will you understand how it actually works, right? So somebody's asking, what are the dates of the training? The dates of the training is starting from next week, Saturday, and the upper one. But don't worry, even if you missed it, let's say you had to be at work, you had to be in church, you had to be elsewhere, it is recorded. You can actually learn it. You can ask us any questions you want to ask us, and it's very, very important. I'm just going to quickly go through the comment section and see how people are asking us questions. Okay, somebody said this: how are you investing? Are you investing optimally? What is an optimal investment? An optimal investment basically talks about optimizing your information, ensuring that you are allocating your investments efficiently. All right, somebody is saying that they can't hear me. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going to take that again. So I'm saying that, okay, great. Guys, okay, great. I'm just going to continue. So basically, we're asking you, how should we then invest, right? So are you investing optimally? Investing optimally means that you're making the best sufficient knowledge you can. You're optimizing your information. You're allocating your investments efficiently. And that is where you need to be at. Some people are already investing, but they're not doing it properly. Some people are doing trial and error. Some people are doing vibes and inshallah. Do you understand? So we need from you to not just be doing vibes. We don't want you to be doing trial and error. We want you to understand why you are doing it. We want you to be able to understand, because it's a game changer. Look at the people that invested in Netflix many years ago. Look at people that invested in Nvidia, right? Look at the people that invested in Tencent, right? It's done properly. There's a way to go about it. You need to actually have the right knowledge. You need to be able to understand it, and then you're able to get the concept and be able to invest in the long run. And we want to help you to do that at a token. Now look at this token. The token here is that what? For our comprehensive 2 weeks classes, you, instead of paying 75,000 naira, right, we are charging you just 50,000 naira for that. And now remember, it's not just class. We're also going to give you 1 year subscription to all our community. We'll also be sending you emails for 3 weeks, teaching you, educating you about what you need to do, what is going on in this space, what is that one doing, so that when you leave here, you do not just have the class, you also have a community, you also have solid information. Now, for all the people saying, Tosin, I don't have money, or I don't have up to 50,000. We created another package for you. There's another one for 30,000 naira. This one gives you what? It entails the 2 weeks comprehensive class. If you choose the first one, you're getting full access to our community. You're getting 3 months worth of emails of key stock market information. Remember, information is power. If you do not know how to plan, think about the future, how to project, then you can't do it. However, the other one, it entails just 2 weeks of a comprehensive class. So guys, if you take up this offer now, because this offer is valid for a short period of time, I'm going to put it right up here, then you'll be able to get the discount, right? So we just published the offers now, and then you'll be able to actually take the discount. So we have limited units available. We only have 50 units available for people in this class. So if you want to take that offer, you can take it. I just want to repeat the offer quickly. The first offer is for 50,000 naira. It is valued at 75,000 because you have a full 2 weeks comprehensive class. You have full access to our community, and you have 3 months worth of emails of key stock market information. The second one is talking about what? The 2 weeks comprehensive class. So we want you to learn, we want you to gain knowledge, we want you to understand exactly how this thing works. We want you to be able to make an investment in your future, right? We want people to stop cheating you, people to stop telling you this is what you should do, that is what you should do. We'll go through proper procedure so that you understand it and you're able to actually do it. All right, cool. So while we're waiting for people to take the offer, people are asking that if you want to ask us a question, feel free to use the question and answer icon. Somebody's asking, is Tosin, it's let's see. So basically, yeah, so that's how you are. Somebody's asking, I'm already registered with your community, so I don't need the 50,000. Yes, if you're already registered with the community, you can just take the 30,000 naira class. Charles is asking, has the class ended? I was like, yes, the class has ended. We're currently sharing our offers now with you about how we plan to teach you for the next 2 weeks comprehensive sessions. Miriam is asking, is it possible to invest in stocks outside of Nigeria? Yes, it is. We'll be teaching you about everything so that you're not just going out there, you're not just gambling, you're not just testing the waters. We'll teach you, we'll show you, we'll educate you. Now, remember, we will not tell you to do this too, that we'll educate you so that you are making a sound decision. It is very, very important that you have the right knowledge to actually make a sound decision, right? So Lokwa is saying that, can you earn both dividend and capital appreciation on the stock? Yes, 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 you can. You can earn. There are some companies that will not pay you dividend. There are some companies that will pay you dividend as well. And some companies that will grow and also still pay you dividend. Guys, once you join us, I can tell you this, that people that have taken our class, it is value for money. You'll be very glad you did. Our offer is currently up. We only have limited ones, right? And we want you to be able to participate, right? The first one is saying that it entails 2 weeks of comprehensive class. You have full year access to our community, and instead of paying 75,000, you actually have to pay 50,000 naira. And the second one is actually saying that, you know what, it entails 2 weeks comprehensive class, and it's just 30,000. So you don't have the access to our community. You also do not have those key emails that will be sending you for the next 3 months about the stock market, what the key movements are, you know, projections, you know, estimates, you know, what analysts are saying, and all those different things. So guys, we're very excited to have you here, and we really, really look forward to you, you know, taking up this offer and actually coming on board with us, because we want to go on that journey with you. So guys, thank you so much for taking the session. Feel free to send us messages. Let us know how you feel about it. Let us know. Somebody's asking, is the intensive training going to be online? Yes, it is going to be online. Everything's going to be online. Somebody's asking, what is the least amount of money I can invest? You can invest as little as 5,000 naira. Somebody is saying that must a stockbroker be used to invest? Now the thing is, there's many people now have online platforms, so you can actually also go online. Don't worry guys, once you join us, we'll be taking all of this into account. We will teach you like you've never learned before. You'll be so glad. So Diola is asking, what if it's a one-on-one coaching? How much is it and how long? Diola, please send us a message on our Instagram or send me an email on info@themoneyafrica.com, right? So somebody is saying, how can I start stock as a beginner? Olayinka, that is why we created this for you. We want you to be able to educate you so that you completely know how. You're not just doing it because people are doing it. You have the right knowledge, you have the right information, you have the right mind, and you're then able to do it. So guys, we're currently selling units. The units want you to go, so it's the units are actually dropping, right? So we started with 50, we're currently on 47, right? And it is even dropping even more. So guys, please grab your units and let us know. Once again, thank you so much for taking the session. Don't forget that if you're not able to take it now, you might have to take it at the next price, right? And that's why we're giving discounts at least for the next few hours, so that way you're able to take the to take the offer and be able to come on board. Very, very excited that everybody came out this night to actually come and listen to us. And I'm very glad that you actually found this session insightful. If you found it insightful, please put it in the comment section. Let me know how you found it. So Victoria says, you're a great teacher. Thank you. Uche says, I appreciate spending this time with you. Thank you so much. Priscilla says, thank you. Abiodun say, how do we pay? Abiodun, we've put up a link in the offer section. So please just go to the offer and pay, right? It's very easy. Hussein is saying, thank you, Tosin. You're welcome. Samuel is saying, at what age can one start investing? You can start investing now. And for people that have children, they won't let you use your BVN for your children until they turn 18. So you can attach their BVN to your own and start investing on their behalf. So Jay is asking, will you teach us how to use the apps? That is exactly why we are here. We'll teach you anything you want to know. So anything you want to know, we'll teach you how to do it, right? Somebody is saying, how is this different from Forex? Forex does not have a real asset behind it. So for shares, there's a real company. So there's a Google, there's a Microsoft, there's a Netflix, there's a Zenith Bank, there's a GTB. There's a real company behind it. But for Forex, you're literally just looking at, you know, it's a soft asset. It's not a real asset. There's no real, you know, asset behind it. So that's just basically how the difference between global stocks and what Forex actually works. And we always tell people, because Forex is actually more very high risk, we always say that why don't you go for low-hanging fruits, things that you actually understand better, you actually save. So for instance, there's a crisis in the market, people are buying food, people are eating at home, we can tell which of the markets will be doing well, right? But don't worry guys, just join our class and we will teach you all you know. David is saying, I had an issue with my phone when you say 50 spaces. So tell me, what issues do you have with your phone so that we can help you? We're currently on 37 units and it's going down. So please feel free, guys. Also feel free to send my team a message. You know, we can share the link with you. We are very, very happy to help you. We're here to see that you actually are able to, you know, make a purchase. I'm very excited about seeing you in class. It's so amazing to just hear what those testimonies are about. People talking about, oh, you know, I started in. Let me tell you the story. There's this woman. This story was by what's my Psychology of Money. That's where we Collaborative Fund. They were the ones that wrote the story. They spoke about a woman. She was a cleaner. She didn't have a husband. She didn't have children, and she died. When she died, she left $7 million to charity. Now people were shocked. How did she leave $7 million to charity? Did she steal it? You know, that kind of a thing. But guess what happened? So some people are asking that, where's the link to register? 1 minute, please. Let me just make sure that we have it. But click on the offer. The link is on the offer. So just go to the offer and click on it. Yes, I want enroll for the class, and it takes you directly to the link. Thank you so much for sharing, Mayu. That's the link, guys. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm grateful. So that's how to get on it. And hey, let me go back to my story. So I was gisting you guys the story about the woman, the woman that left $7 million for charity, right? And how did she make that money? Did she steal it? How can a cleaner, a low-income person, make that kind of money? Now, in the same year when that happened, guess what happened? Now, there's another guy. He studied at Harvard Business School. He was vice president at Merrill Lynch. For those that do not know Merrill Lynch is like one of the top 10 financial institutions in the world, right? The Bank of America, like it's huge, right? It's huge, right? And guess what? He struggled. He really struggled. So when that man was currently in court, it was going for a foreclosure. For those that don't know what foreclosure is, foreclosure means that they're taking your asset from you, right? They're repossessing it because you've not been able to meet your obligations. And he was saying that it was because of the markets. That is why he was here. Where am I going? This woman that was able to leave $7 million to charity, guess how she did it? By investing regularly in shares. Right, that was how she was able to do it. So many people say, Tosin, I don't have high education. I didn't go to Harvard. I didn't go to London Business School. I didn't go to the top schools. Or they'll say things like, oh, but I'm not rich. I don't make plenty money. Or they'll say things like, oh, you know, my family is not that exposed. You know, they didn't go to school. We're not doing this. No, guys, wherever you are, it's a consistent game. If you can just do it regularly, you would see that you make a significant change. And that is what we want to teach you when you actually sign up for our courses. So guys, we're right here. Feel free, and then you can just, you know, come on and be able to subscribe. Thank you so much once again for taking this class. I'm so grateful that you guys are here. Abibola says, thanks for the insightful lecture. Who else? Miriam is explaining to us. Edith is saying, put up the offer thing again so I can take the offer. We've put it up again. Abdrafiu Salako is saying, thanks for educating us. Amala is saying, where's the link to register? Victor is saying, where's the link to register? We've put the link there now. Samuel is saying, I have subscribed to Money Africa for 6 months. Which offer should I go for? Say, go for the 30K. So yeah, basically. So if you've never subscribed, definitely go for the 50K class, so you can get the emails, you can get the community, you can get the full package. Olayinka is saying that, Uche is saying, amazing class. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Uche. You've been so kind. Ijoma is saying, thank you so much for this knowledge. Thank you. Some people are in this class and they'll be thinking that, Tosin, you know, I don't have money. Don't worry. Don't worry. One day you're going to have it. And that's why, if you notice the way we teach in such a way that even if you don't have any money, you don't have any money, we want you to leave here with some knowledge. We want you to grow. So my point is this, it's not just about the money. People charge 200,000 naira for this kind of course. We want to reach a lot of people. We want to educate them. We want to change the life of their future. We want to change the life of their children, so that if you have the right knowledge and you're starting early, you change a generation. You change it, you pass the knowledge with them. Now, Warren Buffett bought his first share at the age of 12. Yeah, I think 11 or 12. Yes, that's the age Warren Buffett bought his first share. He could not expose it, and that's why we need to change. If you don't have the knowledge, if you're not living it, it's hard for you to pass that thing to your children. So when you are getting the education, once you're renewing your own mind, it's not just for you, it's for your generation, it's for your kids, it's for your wife, it's for your husband. Everybody starts going in that direction. So what we are charging compared to the value you're getting, trust me, there's a huge difference. And I can't wait to teach you. And you listen to my class, you know I'm a great teacher. You would definitely enjoy it. Thank you once more for taking this, and I look forward to seeing you in class. You would love it. Rachel is asking that when is the class starting? The class is starting the upper Saturday. Don't worry if you're not available, it's going to be recorded. We'll do it in such a way that everybody gets benefit. So you will never have anything to doubt. Trust me. And trust me when I say trust me. You are in a good place and you will definitely get the knowledge you require. So Jay is asking what the mode of delivery is. The mode of the delivery is going to be on the weekend, right? And it's going to be after work hours on the weekend. And like I said, let's say you have to work or anything, don't worry. You have a recorder. So it's on a weekend on an evening like this. So we want to put into account people that have work. We have a plan for you. We have you in mind. All right. We have 30 units left. Whoop, 20 are gone now. Guys, keep purchasing your units. Oh wow, now we have 28 units left. Yay, now we have 25 units left. Guys, keep coming. Don't forget, you can also send us a DM on Instagram. Don't forget, you can also join our community. We built our community for you. If you want to learn anything, we're the best, one of the best teachers in the market. We love what we do. We teach you with so much passion to ensure that you always get the knowledge every time you come into contact with us. So guys, we're very super excited, like so excited.